Hey crafty people, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. Over the years I've dabbled in most types of crafting, although for the past decade or so I've been doing primarily card making and mixed media art. I've recently embarked on a junk journaling journey that I hope you'll join me on. Today I'm going to be showing you how to alter papers by bubble dyeing using powdered pigments. Let's get crafting! Hey everybody, we are back for another round of altering our paper for our junk journal. I was watching a video by 49 Dragonflies in which she was doing the soap bubble technique with coffee and then watered down acrylic paint, and I had one of those light bulb moments and I thought, I've got a bunch of powdered pigments. A few years back they were really popular for making card bases. One brand was Color Bursts. And then there are also Brushos, which is what I have. And they come in these little containers. And I know a lot of crafters will like use a pin to poke a hole in the top, but I live in Florida where it is very humid and I'm worried that seal won't be sufficient enough. So I've not done that to mine. And here's what it looks like when you open the cap very gently. It's a bunch of powder. And I know it looks kind of bloody brown, but it's a sea green. It's a beautiful green when you add water to it. So they're highly water reactive. I figured, let's give this a try to alter some paper. So what you need is a bowl that's relatively shallow that we're going to make our mixture in, some water, some dish soap, a straw, and your pigments. Now if you don't have powdered pigments, say that 10 times fast, you can always try using watered down acrylic paints. I bet distress ink re-inkers or other ink pad reinkers would probably work for this. Or you can use your coffee and tea stain mixtures to try. But I wanted to give these a try. So again, a little bit goes a long way. I just am putting a little bit of the pigment powder in there. I also have Lindy Stamping Gang's Magicals, which is another powder pigment, and this has got shimmer, so we'll give that one a try too and see how that goes. Then you need to add a bunch of water. I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but I can see the water turning a lovely blue-green. And a few drops of dish soap because we're going to be blowing bubbles. And then of course, a selection of the papers you want to dye. Don't worry, this is my craft desk straw. It's only used for crafting and stuff, not for using with food. So we're gonna mix this up and see if we can get some bubbles going. I think I may need to put a little more water in and a little bit more soap because my straw needs to be more submerged. Put a little more dish soap in. Up and blow. Now we're going to just pat our paper on the bubbles, and I think this needs more pigment. Like I can tell already as the bubbles are popping that there's not enough pigment in there. So let's try adding a little bit more of the pigment to see if we can get a good result. So dump a little bit more in. Mix this all up. Ooh, yeah, that'll work. So yeah, you just basically tap your paper onto the bubbles and set it aside to dry. This is a page out of an old dictionary. That dry. So I'm gonna speed things up so that you're not sitting there going, oh God, I'm watching her blow bubbles and dip paper in it. Hi, I'm back. You may notice I have a different container than I was using earlier. I realized the other one was a little too big. There was too much pigmented water left over when I was done bubbling the pages I wanted to bubble. So I'm going to try a smaller container for this round. Don't worry, as you might be able to tell from my fingers, I think I'm turning into She-Hulk, but I took the leftovers outside and started just dyeing some paper with it. So I will show you all of my various results at the end, but this time I'm going to try the Brushos in Violet and see how those come out. And somewhere on here is a little scoop that has just out there. Messy desk. So, ooh, that's a pretty color. So let's see if that's going to be enough. I'm going to add some soap. Grab my straw, stir everything up, and grab another piece of paper. Another tip I want to give you that I'm really bad at, you want to, after you blow your bubbles, tap the paper down, don't drag it. Dragging it ends up smearing the color, which I have a bad habit of doing. I think we're going to want to go a little bit more of the pigment in there just to get it a little darker, but not too much more. Purple tends to be a very highly pigmented color. Let's get it in there. Stir it up. All right. We're gonna let you, I'm gonna speed up and you can watch. So the smaller containers definitely working better, but as you can see, I'm getting a lot of overflow. And what I've been doing is taking book pages and just sopping it up so that I'm not wasting all that lovely pigment and color. But this brings me to what I really wanted to point out. You're going to make a mess doing this, but you're going to want to protect your craft table. I've got a silicone mat on my table, so it cleans up very nicely. So that is something to bear in mind when you're doing this. So the final results and some final thoughts on doing soap bubbles with powdered pigments. So first color I did was the Brusho's Sea Green, and I used the bigger container for blowing the bubbles. I think the smaller container I eventually used worked much better. So here are some of the pages. And definitely the thinner papers did not, you can't see the bubbling quite as well on the thinner papers as you can on the thicker cardstock. Cardstock definitely worked better. And I think the results for, and you'll see in a minute, the smaller container also worked better. So here are all my papers dried. You can see the book pages really did not turn out very good. Some of them had some good results. But you'll notice with the violet, which I used, which was, oh, not that one, Brusho's Violet, the bubbles came out much more pronounced on the pages. Although again, better results on the cardstock than on the non-cardstock. Show you a smattering of my results there. I did pull out some of my coffee stained pages and tried it with that. And these I used Brusho Gray because I wanted to see what that looked like. Can't really see much on that one, but I didn't do too much because I didn't love the gray. And then finally, I did the Lindy Stamping Gang's Magical Time Travel Teal, and the results on the coffee stain was kind of cool. And again, these were all using the smaller container, and the bubbles worked much better on the smaller container. Another tip is, remember, don't drag, press it down into the bubbles. You'll get much better results there. But with the Time Traveling Teal, it's got, I believe, a mica in it. And the mica didn't really come through on the pages. Now, what I did also is any mess on the table, I used book pages to clean up. Like this was the gray. And I also took my leftover tinted liquid and just went ahead and dyed some papers. So I've got some lovely dyed papers. And the mica did come through. I don't know if it's going to show up on the video or not. If you can see the sparkle on the ones that I dyed with the liquid. And for a few of the sea green ones, I added some coffee, and that got me a really cool color. Like these are the straight sea green dyed pages, and these are the ones with the coffee added in. So again, I encourage you to just experiment with any powdered pigments you might have and doing bubbles and dyeing paper. It's just another way to alter your paper other than just tea and coffee dye. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit the like button, and to be certain not to miss future videos, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thanks for watching and happy crafting!